Hey everyone, welcome back to Building 10. Let's say you are deploying a new version of your application using rolling update in Kubernetes. A few minutes later, your Kubernetes is saying deployment successfully rolled out and everything looks normal. The pods are running, the deployment is green, but then someone from your team messages that users are getting 503 errors. Now the question is, if the rollout was successful, then where did these errors come from? So one of the most common things people say about Kubernetes is rolling updates give you zero downtime. And that is absolutely true. I'm not denying it, but only if your application and your deployment are configured properly. So in this video, we will understand how a rolling update actually works, what Kubernetes is really doing during the rollout, and the four most common reasons users still see errors even through the rollout gets succeeded. We will also do a live demo simulating the same scenario within our Kubernetes cluster, where your Kubernetes says the rollout succeeded, but the traffic tells a completely different story. And by the end of this video, you will know the four deployment settings I always check before deploying using rolling update to production. So without any further delay, let's jump into the video. Before we talk about why deployments cause downtime, let's first understand what a rolling update actually does. Let's say you have an application running 4 pods. Right now, all 4 are running version 4. So version 1 running in all the 4 pods. And now you deploy a version 2. So Kubernetes does not stop all 4 pods and then just start 4 new ones while using rolling deployments. That is not how rolling deployment works. If it does that, then your application would be going down for a few seconds. So what it does instead is that it replaces one at a time. So if you are deploying a second version, then one by one, your version will be replacing with the version 2, and all the 4 versions which is running within your application will be replaced eventually by the new version which you have just deployed. So once that pod is ready, it removes one of the old version of one pod, then it starts another version of version 2 by removing the old pods. And it keeps on doing that until all the pods are gone and every pod is running with the new version, which is being seen over here. So during the rollout, Kubernetes is always trying to keep your application available. And that is why people often say that rolling updates provide zero downtime. Now, there are 2 settings that decide how fast this rollout can happen. So the first one is your maxSurge. So what it does, this tells Kubernetes how many extra pods it can create during the rollouts, as simple as that. And the second setting is your maxUnavailable. So what it tells is, it tells the Kubernetes how many pods are allowed to be unavailable while the rollout is in progress. Very important. So by default, the setting is somewhere sitting at 25%. What does it mean? So if you have 4 replicas, which is running within your Kubernetes clusters, Kubernetes can create one extra pod and allow one pod to be unavailable during the rollout. For most application, this default works just fine. There very less chance of having problem. But there are situations where these settings can actually become the reason of your deployment, which can cause downtime. We will come back to that in a few moments. But before we get into that, we need to understand where the things start going wrong. What are the scenarios which can create this kind of issue? When people hear that rolling updates give you zero downtime, they usually assume that user won't see any errors during a deployment. But that is not what Kubernetes is trying to guarantee you. Kubernetes has a very much simpler job than that people are often trying to prove or they're trying to say. So what it does, it just replaces the old pods with the new ones while keeping enough pod available to serve traffic. That's it does. Now, the obvious question here is, if Kubernetes is keeping enough pods running, then why the users are still seeing errors in our scenario? So because Kubernetes does not decide whether your application is working or not, it only decides whether a pod is ready to receive traffic or not. And how does it make that decision? So what it does, it normally looks to a readiness probe. If that readiness probe is succeeding, then just Kubernetes starts sending the traffic to that pod. It does not understand if your application has finished initializing or not. It does not know if your database is connected or not. And it definitely does not know if your dependencies are healthy or not. It simply trusts what the readiness probe is telling. So if the readiness probe is missing or does not actually check the right things, then Kubernetes can complete the rollout without showing any errors. While in real time, your users are still getting errors. That is exactly where most rollout create problem. And let's see what are the 4 most common reasons which can cause this kind of problems. The first cause is the pod is really not ready, what it means and how it exactly works. So this is the most common cause, which is missing or poorly configured readiness probe. You might be having a readiness probe, but it is maybe not there or maybe poorly configured within your cluster or within your deployment. Imagine, let's say Kubernetes starts a new pod during a rolling update. And if there is no readiness probe, Kubernetes assume that the pod is ready as soon as the container starts. But starting a process does not mean the application is ready to serve request. So some application need maybe few seconds to load configuration. Some may be needing to connect to a database, or maybe some other application may be warming up their caches before they can handle traffic. So if the request reach the pod before all of that is complete, then user can start seeing the errors. That is the first problem of this cause one. There is a second problem to that particular cause is the readiness probe that checks the application may be checking the wrong thing. What does it mean? For example, let's say you have a endpoint with /health. Each time your endpoint returns 200 because the web server is running. But maybe the database is not connected yet. But from Kubernetes point of view, everything is healthy. But the user's point of view, requests are failing. So the ideal suggestion here is don't just add a readiness probe because Kubernetes recommends it. Make sure it actually verifies that your application is ready to serve the traffic. And if your application takes time to start, then give enough time to start before the first readiness check runs on that particular endpoint. There is again one more second level of cause to the problem. That is something called as the pod stops too quickly. How exactly it works? Let's say during a rolling update, Kubernetes sends a SIGTERM signal before stopping the container, right? That is your application's chance to shut down cleanly. So that is good. But the problem is that many applications exit immediately. So let's say if the pod is still processing the request, those requests are interrupted while that signal is being sent to your applications. During that time, your users might see timeouts, connection resets, 502 errors, whatnot, right? But a graceful shutdown can be done with 3 things. How? First, it stops accepting the signal. Second, it finishes the request, which is already in process. Finally, the exit can happen. That is why SIGTERM and setting an appropriate termination grace period second is so important while you are writing your applications. Otherwise, even a perfectly healthy application can create errors during a deployment. That is about cause 2. There is a cause 3 to the problem as well, which I call it as the rollout does not match the workload. What does it mean? So most teams have the default values for maxSurge, which we write it within our deployments, and maxUnavailable, which we just mentioned, right? And for many applications, as I mentioned, that is completely fine. But every application does not behave the same way which it is supposed to do. If you have only 2 replicas, which is running within your Kubernetes, losing one means you have instantly lost half of your capacity. And on the other hand, what Kubernetes want is to create extra pods, but the cluster in this case does not have enough free resources for those pods to be up. So what happens? All the pods stay in pending and the rollout just slows down. And the important thing is choosing the right rollout settings, which matches your exact workload, and not just using the default setting, and always make sure the cluster has enough spare capacity to support them while you are doing your deployments. So that is about the third cause. So the fourth cause is you are watching wrong signals. It is not an issue with the configuration. It is about the visibility. So most of the teams watch one command during a deployment, which is nothing but your kubectl rollout status, which is a very generic command, which we try to see. So most of the time it says successful. Then people think that or assume everything is fine. But that will only tell you whether your Kubernetes has finished replacing the pods or not. It does not tell you whether all the user requests are successful or not, which is an important metrics to track during your deployment. So during a rollout, which are the signals matter you the most? These are your error rates, your latency, your pod requests. These are pod restarts, my bad. So these are the very important metrics which you should track, which cannot be tracked using kubectl rollout status. So the suggestion here is before every production rollout, decide what scenarios you should consider before making the rollback. Don't just wait until you are in the middle of an incident to make that decision. Make the decision before the deployment and long before configuring your deployment strategy in your production. So this is my environment. I have basically two terminal which I have opened parallelly. So the first terminal is where I am deploying my application. Before jumping into this demo, I have already deployed the version 1 of the application. And as you can see, there are 3 pods which are running. And I have a small traffic script which is continuously sending request every 200 milliseconds. And as per the output, everything looks healthy. And every request is returning HTTP 200 from version 1. Let me just deploy the version 2 of my application to this particular deployment. And before I do that, I want to tell that I have 2 different deployment files which I have written. One is app broken and app fixed. App broken is a default setting how normally we write our rolling update, which I can show you in some time. And I will just push the version 2 using the same deployment file. Let's see. So let me deploy the version 2, set image, version 2, and deploy it to demo. Now, the important thing is that we need to see the rollout status over here. And it says rollout successful. But interesting thing here you can see is here 503 errors which has just started coming, and after some time immediately the version 2 and the 200 request has started coming. It's a very fractional second. I don't say it's a very big difference, but this can cause significant traffic loss to your application if this is deployed in this way. So that is the exact situation which I am trying to tell from the beginning of the video, and we have started the video with the same saying. So in this case, Kubernetes says the deployment just succeeded, but your users would be probably disagreeing to what Kubernetes is particularly saying. So what exactly is happening? Nothing has crashed. No pod failed. The rollout completed successfully, which I just told you at the beginning. The problem is that Kubernetes made a decision with incomplete information, and it is assumed that the new pod was ready to serve traffic, but in the real time, your application was not ready to receive the traffic. That is the gap. Now let's fix it. 2 different file. So this is the broken application one. So as I mentioned, it's a normal one. There is no maxUnavailable set properly, no termination grace period successfully set. There is no health probe, nothing is there. That is why you got that problem. So to fix that, what I have done is I have written another deployment with fix.yaml. There are a couple of things which I wanted to show you. The first thing is that the maxUnavailable. So here you can see the maxUnavailable is set to 0. By default, as I mentioned, Kubernetes allows one pod to become unavailable during the rollout, which means that it can terminate an old pod before the replacement is actually serving the traffic. In our case, we only have 3 replicas. So losing one immediately means we have already lost 1/3 of our serving capacity. So instead, what I have done is I have just made it to 0. So now Kubernetes is not allowed to remove an old pod until a replacement is actually ready. And that is what exactly we want. Second is your readiness probe, which is the biggest one. So our application intentionally takes about 8 seconds before it can serve request without readiness probe. Kubernetes in this case assume the pod is ready, and almost immediately after the container starts, the traffic starts flowing, while the application is still returning 503 in our broken case. And that is exactly what we saw in our first deployment. So I have just configured this readiness probe, and it just keeps checking that health endpoint until that endpoint returns HTTP 200. The pod will never send the traffic to the pod. That is the second fix. Another side of the rollout is that starting is not only the problem, stopping is also very important. So whenever you implement a pre-stop hook, so Kubernetes just sends SIGTERM almost immediately. There can still be requests reaching that pod, as I mentioned, and those requests can simply fail. So what we are going to do is we are going to add a 5-second sleep timer to this pre-stop. So what will happen is there will be a 5-second delay, which gives kubectl enough time to remove the pod from the service endpoints before the application can still serve the traffic. The fourth one is your termination grace period seconds. So previously it was set to 30. It's a very small thing which people often miss. If you sleep for 5 seconds, what will happen is Kubernetes kills the container before those 5 seconds can complete. If the pre-stop hook becomes useless, that is why I'm just increasing extra 5 seconds so that it can wait for 5 more seconds. And in this case, always make sure that this should be longer than your pre-stop delay. If it is 10, then increase to 40. If it is 20, then increase to 50, just like that. Right now, let's run the exact same rollout again, same application, same image, same traffic, how exactly it is happening. So what I will do is I will just undo the before rollout and I will redeploy with the fixed one, right? So I'll just check the status. Okay, rollout is successful. Now let me apply with the fixed deployment file and it is done. But before that, I will just check the status. So 1 out of 3. Okay, it is already serving from 1, but I will just wait for 3 of the replicas to come online. It is terminating. Okay, so rollout is successful. I'll just check the pod status and I can see it is already running. Now let's deploy the version 2. So I can see the traffic is serving from version 1, all 200 requests, no failed request. I will just close it and I will deploy the version 2. And it is updated. Let's check the status. And you should see bottom of the screen, which is serving version 1. While the version 2 is rolling out, I will see if there is any 500s or 400s which is coming from not. Till now, nothing. I can see 1 request are coming from version 2. 2 rollout is successful, 3 replicas, and our termination is happening. The same rollout command has been gone. The only difference is which we have done within this deployment is within our deployment file. So this is how you can do deployment. And I can see there are no failed requests and our app is happened successfully. That is how normally you can use rolling update with some of the tips and tricks by significantly reducing the error rates while you are deploying. The main thing I want you to take away from this video is that a successful rollout does not always mean a successful deployment. kubectl rollout status tells you what Kubernetes sees. It does not tell you whether your user had a good experience or not. Kubernetes can only make decisions based on the information you give it. If your deployment tells Kubernetes a pod is ready when it is not, then Kubernetes will trust you. And that is why these 4 fields matter. And they are not just deployment tuning. They are part of your building production ready applications. So if you found this useful, then please consider subscribing to Build in 10. In this channel, we talk about Kubernetes, SRE, production engineering, not by memorizing commands, but by understanding how systems behave in production. If there is a specific topic you'd like me to cover next, then let me know your thoughts in the comment boxes below. And with that, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.